any of you cul-de-sac squirrel warriors. I'm not encouraging you to disobey your HOA, but this might be an option for you to take care of a few critters, you know, or maybe pick up dinner in the backyard. Ding! Welcome back to Mud Lake Ranch. Today we're here with the Umerex Notos CRK 22 caliber, not a firearm. That's right, folks. This is a PCP, a pre-charged pneumatic, meaning this is a pellet gun in 22 cal. This cylinder right here is pressurized to 3,625 pounds. You can't pump this up with your standard air compressor, so we'll get to that in just a moment. Up front you have your pressure gauge, and I just charged this down in the basement. To charge these you need a PCP air pump, or you can go to your local dive shop or scuba diving place, or even paintballing places to have these filled. I purchased a compressor. Now, getting into PCPs is not cheap by any means, but this gun, it comes in at under 300 bucks. It's like $229 or something. So super affordable for a PCP. There are PCPs out there in the thousands. They're meant for hunting, air gun hunting. And I live in New York State, and we currently can't hunt with air guns, but I'll leave a link to a buddy of mine who hunts game in Africa with a pre-charged pneumatic. He's used air bows as well as 50 caliber air rifles, PCP air rifles and 50 cal, to take down things like zebra and Cape buffalo, stuff like that. Things you would never imagine from an air gun. And air guns are pretty cool because they can ship right to your house, no federal background check, and some of them even come in full automatic. This is not. This is a single shot lever action. Operate the lever back like this, close it, and if you had a pellet in the tray, it would be ready to fire. This has currently in it a single shot tray. It also comes with a 7-shot Rotary magazine that slides into to replace the single shot tray. So let's get back to the gun. The Umerex Notos. This thing is pretty slick. So I've shot this. We actually sighted it in the basement. So we set up a pellet trap down there, and my basement's long. It's got to be maybe 35, 40 feet, the distance we're actually shooting down there to get this sighted in. We were able to do it in the evening. Definitely safe, but definitely not on camera because the basement was a mess. Now we're out at the range. I've topped this PCP with a Hawk Frontier red dot. This red dot cost more than the gun. So this red dot's like $350. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, and maybe even the pinned comment. So the Hawk Frontier red dot really doesn't belong on this PCP. But I wanted to give it a good showing for the review. So check out the Hawk Frontier mounted on my Umerex 22 caliber 5.5 millimeter. So this gun actually is suppressed in a way. So up at the front of this rifle, air rifle, we have what it looks like a suppressor, and it does act like one. This muffles the sound of this gun significantly. If I had another 22 beep pellet gun out here, I would compare them. I'm going to put the decibel readings of this gun. I'm going to use my phone that I'm recording with now. I downloaded a decibel meter app, and I will fire that. I can't compare it to another one because both of my 22 air rifles are at work right now for a project. So anyway, suppressed. It's quieter, I promise. Wait, you won't be able to tell, but I'll compare it to something at a later date. Picatinny rail up top, so you can mount your red dots, regular scope if you'd like. You don't need anything crazy like this Hawk. You don't even need anything that can withstand recoil because there is none. As I mentioned, bolt lever action, type bolt action here. The trigger is really cool looking, and the safety is built into the trigger. So safety is currently in on position. To turn it off, you simply click to the left and you'll see that it is red. ready to fire, but there's nothing in the chamber. The pistol grip is very ergonomic. It feels great in the hand, and it has little grooves to follow your hand as they wrap and your thumb as it wraps on the opposite side. So a very, very nice feel to that grip. And at the rear, we have an adjustable stock, just like on your AR-15s. So this thing is pretty sick. We've shot it. I'm happy with it. 780 feet per second. So that might sound slow. But I was shooting a 6-inch steel at about 25 yards and hitting consistently. Let me just throw a pellet in here right now and see if I can rack the steel that's behind me. Then we'll get in how to actually load this magazine. So we're going to load this thing up and send one down for you. You should hear a little ting when I hit the steel, and I imagine that I will. So these 22 caliber pellets, I wish I had something else here to compare it to, but these are Umerex Brimstone, and these are a lead pellet with a fat tip on them. These will take down some small game. You can hunt small game with air guns in New York, which is nice. I have an extremely fat finger, so loading this is kind of a pain in the ass. All right, so we're loaded up. Safety's still on. I mentioned the cylinder is pre-charged to 3,625 PSI. Now, when I mentioned that that's a lot, and the entry level into these guns this is a great entry level gun at $200. If you look at no offense to Umarex or anybody else selling these, if you go to Umerex or another air gun company that sells PCPs, you're going to see that the pump for a PCP is like $700. So I reached out to Vivor, or I think that's their name. I'll leave it link in the description. And they had sent me some fans for a review on Amazon, and they apparently do other electronics, and they do have a PCP pump for $179. So it's a third of the price of what you're going to see on the PCP air gun company's websites. So this was a great way for me to get into this, super affordable, and they sent me it for free. I'll be doing a review on that as well, so link in the description and the pinned comment. Once that video's up, I'll put that there. It should be right on the heels or same day as this video, or maybe a little bit before. Depends on how jumpy I get and wanting to get these videos out. So this is a red dot. It is a battery operated red dot, so I have to turn it on. We are sighted up. I'm going to move this stock a little bit shorter because I'm not very, what do you call it, tall. All right, the dot's on. Ding! Let me share with you how far away that red dot. Oh shoot, this is so tight. There we go. All right, so that steel is right there. Right there. That little white dot is the steel. That is a 6 or 8 inch steel, and we are at about 33 yards. And I'm pretty sure I hit, dead center, of course. So let's load up that 7-round, what do they call it, Rotary magazine, and show you how that works. So this little single shot plate, you have to have the lever all the way back, the charging lever or whatever you want to call it, and it's held in place by a magnet. See how it wants to go back in? So there's a magnet here and magnet here, and the magazine's held in the same way. So this comes out, you don't want to lose this. I kind of like running it single shot, but if I was going to go wander around in the woods and plunk squirrels, I would want to use the rotary mag, so I had a little bit more capacity. I'm going to bend this down over the table so you can watch me load it. All right, so you'll feel pressure from a spring in this. See how it wants to spring back? Once you're all the way around, You block the opposite side with your finger so the pellet cannot go through. Facing down. And then as you go back, drop them in. Now, this might not be the right way to load these, but it's the way that works. So if the folks at Umerex or anybody that's into these guns wants to comment below and tell me different, that's fine with me. Ow, my fingers are cramping up. All right, last round. All right, so that's all loaded up. This is supposed to latch in place, but this is not latched in place since I got it. There's a little divot there. It just slides right by. So something wrong there. Let's see if I can get this gun underneath. Okay. So make sure the lever's all the way back. Line up this magnet with the other magnet, and there is a groove here. Come on, baby. There's a groove right here that has to go into that groove. That groove there. And when it's in place, it stops. Magnet holds it, and you simply push it forward, and you are ready to shoot again. I want you to pretend that you're with me here and you can actually hear how quiet this thing is. It's kind of weird not having to wear hearing protection. I know it's a BB gun, but that's freaking sick, huh? So it will shoot just air when you're using the single shot. This one won't allow you to push forward on the final shot. It has a block on the last round, so you can't shoot it and let you know you're empty. But this thing is pretty sick. Amazing. Now, you can hear the steel ting is louder than the gun, and you're 1.5 feet from the gun, and I don't know, 60 feet from the target. So with this gun, you can store it. Oh, great, I dropped it. With the cylinder charged. There we go. So you can store this gun with your cylinder charged. Let me see how I'm looking at here. But do not leave it in the vehicle, because if it hits 122 degrees, I believe, it can explode. So we're gonna shoot this last 7, and then we're gonna check out that pressure gauge to see where we're at on that. But this is nuts. At this distance, you're really reaching out there on small game, and it's fun. I just saw some grass, like the weeds that are sticking up in front of the target, get cut off and fall down because I'm shooting through some like really tall goldenrod type stuff, kind of blocking the target. So it's been shearing through that tall grass, and then one taller piece with a dead flower on top fell over. But yeah, this thing is pretty sick, huh? All right, safety's back on. Let's get to our final thoughts on the Umerex Notos. All right, final thoughts on the Umerex Notos PCP. Pretty happy to be able to get into the PCP airgun game. It was a little bit out of reach for a lot of novice people that aren't into that game yet. So this allows you to get into the PCP game for under 300 bucks, just over 200 bucks. If you pair that with the PCP air pump that I just mentioned, you're into the game for under 500. Now, that's far and away, a long ways away from thousands of dollars on a gun and $600 on a compressor. So I'm really happy about getting into this at an entry level, and now I can't wait to expand my PCP collection to include those higher caliber guns. And if you're not familiar, they make a lot of calibers of air guns now. It's not just 177 and 22 anymore. You can get into 30 cal and 50 cal, like big game killing PCP air rifles now is pretty sick. And the fact that PCPs are pre-charged pneumatics with the gauge, which I'm going to show you here, we've used about half of our charge. It will continue to shoot. You're supposed to fill it between 1,000 and 3625. I put it right at about 3,500. The pump shuts off on its own, so you don't have to worry as much about the this thing getting over pressurized. So there is some consideration there that what you want to do for a pump, make sure it shuts off on its own, make sure it has a temperature gauge, so that you can make sure you don't want to damage the rifle, and you certainly don't want to have anything go wrong in wherever you're pumping up this highly pressurized gun. Let's get to the actual review. This Umerex Notos, fantastic gun. Practicality score, I'm going to give it a 8.5. Now, why so high and why so low to some of you? Why so high? Entry level price, super practical. AR-15 style stock, adjustable for youth or adults or somewhere in between with my short T-Rex arms. The smaller cylinder, easier to pump, so they have hand pump options. And some of these guns have huge cylinders, and you would not be very happy trying to pump that up with a hand pump. Now, you can't just use a regular bike pump. You have to get a pump for PCPs. It's a hand pump, and it gets progressively harder as you pump. This one would be more practical to pump with a hand pump. Love that it has the sound mitigating device on the front. Love that it's got a pick rail. Very practical. Trigger's fine on this thing for what it is. It's a PCP air gun. This thing will dust some critters. Practicality score, sticking with the 8.5. Super practical, super affordable considering the category it's in. It makes entering PCP so much easier to swallow than just jumping into a really cool, really expensive big game hunting PCP rifle. But now that I have the compressor, we can move into other air guns without any issue. It's practicality 8.5. Accuracy, this thing's smoking that steel at, can you see it? Can you see it? Let's go this way. There it is. All right, we're destroying that steel there. You can see it right, let me figure this, there, right there at the end of my barrel. We're smacking that steel with this gun. The accuracy is, for the range that we're shooting, is awesome, and it's consistent. I didn't miss that steel on any shot. We ran 2 7-round mags. plus all the single shot rounds, and I shot it freehand to start this video and hit the steel no problem. And I was even further back on that shot, not on the bench. So accuracy, I'm gonna give it a 9.2. I'm not driving, I actually probably should check. I probably should get paper to see how consistently this thing hits, but it's hitting a fist-sized target at 30 yards. It's disgusting. It's great for the air gun game, and with how quiet this thing is. So let's get the coolness factor, because the quiet is going to factor in to the coolness. First of all, the overall appearance of this air gun is really cool. This thing is awesome for, you know, just aesthetics. And the fact that it has the single shot or the rotary mag, that makes it all the cooler. Picatinny rail makes it cool. This grip alone makes it cool. The trigger design makes it cool. This thing's sick. Now the decibels, I did not record that yet. I'm going to have to shoot a few more rounds, and I'll pop that up on the screen to show you the decibel reading on this. But the fact that you can hear that steel louder than this gun is incredible. Just it's awesome. So any of you cul-de-sac squirrel warriors, I'm not encouraging you to disobey your HOA, but this might be an option for you to take care of a few critters, you know, or maybe pick up dinner in the backyard. Anyway, coolness factor, I'm gonna go with, they already score it, I'm gonna go with 8.6. This thing is so cool, but there's room. There's more room, because room for the next gun, the better gun, the bigger, badder. When I get that 50 in my hands, it's gonna get a better score. So it's gonna happen. Umerex, it's gonna happen. Give me that 50 cal. Thank you for watching this video on the Umerex Notos. If you found this video useful, helpful, or interesting, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe.